It is summer in Richmond again, and exactly 1 year ago, I was sitting in this very house and it was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit inside, and I was risking heat stroke. I could not sleep. I was miserable. I was doing Zoom calls and conference calls, and this is all because I failed to maintain or replace my air conditioning unit. But it was no laughing matter last year, and as I enter summer this year, I cannot do it again. I just cannot do it. And so I've been doing some digging, and I'm hoping that I found the right company to help me. They've been around Richmond for almost 60 years, and it is James River Air. I'm going to call them, and we're going to figure this out today, and I'm hoping that they know what to do.
Welcome to Virginia. If you live here, you know that our weather has a personality of its own. My hometown of Richmond sits in a unique center point directly between the Blue Ridge Mountains and the Atlantic Ocean. We get the beauty of all four seasons, but we also get the extremes that come with it. Long, humid summers, icy cold winters, insanely heavy pollen, sudden random storms, and during summer there are endless weeks where the air feels so thick that you can hardly even breathe. It's that humidity that can really define life here, especially because Richmond is a very old town with thousands of historic homes. 90 degrees on the thermometer rarely feels like 90. The moisture in the air traps heat against your body, making even simple things like mowing the lawn, walking your dog, or sitting on your back patio feel miserable and exhausting. And if you're a homeowner or even just a renter here, your utilities are fighting this insane uphill battle every single day. Most of the neighborhoods that make Richmond special were built well over 100 years ago. Beautiful homes full of character and history, but also aging insulation, old ductwork, crawl spaces, attics, and mechanical systems that were never designed for the way that we live today. Over time, all of these inefficiencies begin adding up, and this means that our electric bills keep on climbing. Maybe one room is always hotter than the rest of the house, maybe your system seems to run all day like mine without ever really catching up, or maybe you've noticed that something just isn't quite right, but you've convinced yourself that you can get through one more summer before dealing with it. I know that feeling because that's exactly where I found myself. And after my electric bill reached $722 for the month, I had finally reached my breaking point. But replacing an HVAC system is one of those expenses that nobody looks forward to. You tell yourself that you'll deal with it next month, the next season, and then next year. Eventually, you just learn to live around it, and that's where this story begins.
Yeah, so thanks so much for coming by. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir, no problem. So tell me a little bit about what's going on. How is it cooling? Is it barely cooling? Is airflow or anything like that?
It's struggling. It's barely cooling.
Gotcha.
So last summer I went with no cooling, and during the winter I hardly have any heat.
Okay.
So I've pretty much been using this to just try to survive the hotness,
okay.
you know. And last summer, as soon as I got to like July and August, I was like, this was a mistake. I think my unit is just extremely outdated. It's old. It hasn't been replaced. And that's pretty much as much as I know. You know, the house gets really hot. It's just old. I don't think there's very good insulation and stuff. So I've tried to do what I can. I got like a smart thermostat. It didn't seem to really help all that much. And I think it's just because the unit is old.
I gotcha.
I bought the house in 2019, so I've been here 7 years. The unit worked okay for the first several years that I lived here, for like the first 3-4 years. It was never great, but it worked. It cooled the house, you know, and it was never a huge problem. I'm pretty good at changing the filters. I'll change them once every 3 months. I was also advised to put like a very thin filter in it, just because the unit does struggle. So I've done a good job of that.
Thin filters are fine. It's like you can see through it, but any fine dust will get through it and it will get on the coil, lock the coil up, call the coil up. And then what it can do is also create rust on the coil. That creates leaks. If you mind showing me where the condenser is outside, and then from there I'll grab my bag and start looking at everything.
And as you can tell, I'm very uneducated on this topic, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if my own negligence contributed to what's wrong.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
What is the condenser? That's the unit outside?
The condenser is your outside unit.
Okay.
So it condenses the refrigerant.
Okay.
This is called the evaporator.
I see.
It pulls in all the heat from the inside.
Gotcha.
Transfer it through the refrigerant lines and goes outside and gets dispersed.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, so that unit is on the other side of the house, so we're gonna go check that out.
Up until this point, I really had no idea what to expect. Like a lot of homeowners, I assumed someone would show up, take a quick look, and tell me whether I needed to repair the system or replace it. What I didn't realize was just how methodical the diagnostic process actually is.
I'm gonna start out here, hook up my gauges, look at the refrigerant levels, check out the compressor, the fan motor, then the capacitor on there, you know, see what things are working, see what things are needs a little attention.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I'll come back inside and go up in the attic.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
So right here is where the work really began. Before anyone can recommend a repair or replacement, they first have to understand exactly what's happening inside the system. That means checking pressures, temperatures, airflow, electrical components, and looking at how everything is working together.
All right, so we have a 2-ton 1999 Goodman heat pump. The unit's running, compressor's running, fans running. Lines are not cold, so I'm gonna hook my gauges on here and see what the pressures are. So typically I want to see that suction pressure, which is this low side. I want to see that around 80 at this temperature. Right now I have -3. -3 on the low side. On our high side we only have 63. So that definitely should be a lot higher. So we have a refrigerant leak in this system. I just have to find out where it is. So with systems, they normally have, usually the newer ones will have protections when the systems go into low pressure. Usually they have a low pressure switch on them. This one does not have a low pressure switch, so the unit wasn't able to sense where the pressures were too low. And the unit was just constantly running without the refrigerant. Now that refrigerant lubricates and keeps the compressor cool, and without that refrigerant the compressor can overheat and it can create acid, which is very, very bad. Okay, so during the summertime when it's really hot outside, what I recommend is keeping the same temperature. I want to try to drop the temperature down and raise the temperature up later on. Usually you want to maintain the same temperature. Typically I say around 70 to 75 degrees is a good range.
At this point, Sam had a pretty good idea of what was going on, but assumptions just really aren't enough. So before making a recommendation, he wanted to confirm exactly where the leak was really coming from.
All right, now, so since the system is super low on refrigerant, we still have a little bit of refrigerant in there. I like to add a little bit of nitrogen to pressurize the system. That way it can pinpoint where the leaks are. So I got 166 PSI in there. It's already dropped 0.4 PSI. So that's actually a significant leak. So now I'm gonna go on the inside unit and leak search the inside. Went outside, found the system was running, but nothing was getting cool. The refrigerant lines was nice and warm. Compressor was still running. Hooked my gauges on, found the refrigerant levels super low. Standing pressure right now is 18 PSI. Typically standing pressure is around 100 to 200 PSI, depending on the refrigerant. You don't have any pressure safeties on the unit. And so when a refrigerant gets low like it is right now, the safeties will cut the compressor off so it's not overheating itself and causing extra damage. So being the fact that that refrigerant is super low, I added some nitrogen to pressurize the system. Still have a little bit of refrigerant in there so my leak detector can pick up, it'll sniff it out. I'm gonna start at the indoor in the attic, climb up there, wave my little leak searcher around, see if I can find it.
Okay, awesome.
There's just something uniquely stressful about waiting for an answer that you know could be very expensive. At this point, I honestly had no idea what Sam was going to come back down and tell me. Part of me was hoping that it would just be something simple, but honestly, another part of me knew that this system had been giving me warning signs for a long time.
Found a leak in your indoor coil. So as you can see here, so your copper tubes here meets the aluminum body of the coil, the fins there. And then what happens, it'll oxidize and it'll start creating that rust. And now the system is pressurized in there. And so what happens is during the normal operations of the AC, right? Your indoor coil is a lower pressure, outdoor coil is a higher pressure. When you have a heat pump, you have this thing called a reversing valve that switches the flow of the refrigerant. So that makes the indoor coil higher pressure, outdoor coil lower pressure. So what happens is mainly during like the heating season, those rust spots become very vulnerable and they'll get exposed.
Yeah.
So those rust spots start wearing away, and eventually leak starts popping out.
I see.
There you go. Now this is my leak detector smelling it. And I have it on the lowest setting.
Wow, okay.
So it is definitely leaking.
Wow.
So
on a scale of like 1 to trash, how trash is my setup?
It's trash. It's trash.
It's garbage.
Yeah.
It's done.
It looks pretty old. Like,
Yeah.
It looks pretty old.
Yeah. This is a 1999.
Wow.
Typically, the lifespan of your heat pump is between 10 to 15 years.
Wow. Okay.
That's on average.
So typically in this situation, you would see people just replace it.
Yep. Typically in this situation, what happens since the cost and the age are just way too high, I will have my supervisor come out. He will assess everything, verify the leak. There's a plethora of options. You can go with like standard unit, you can go like a medium grade, you can go with like a high efficiency, nice systems.
Yeah. Okay.
So
awesome.
I'm gonna get on the phone with my supervisor, get him to come out and look at everything.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
At this point, the diagnosis was pretty clear. The question is no longer, what's wrong with the system? The question had become, what do I do next? Like most homeowners, I wasn't hoping to replace an entire HVAC system. I was hoping there was one more repair left in it, but now it was time to sit down, understand my options, and make a decision.
What's happening?
Mr. Myke here, he has a 1999 2-ton Goodman unit.
Okay. Were you out here on a maintenance or a breakdown?
Breakdown out here
Okay.
on breakdown. It wasn't getting cooling. Hasn't been cooling well. Actually hasn't been cooling at all for the past 2 years.
Okay.
So getting it checked out today. So I found a leak on the evaporator coil.
All right.
System was very low. Unit was still running even though it was running on no refrigerator.
Okay. Did you show Mike what's going on?
Showed him the leak, showed him
Okay.
the video of it. He sees where it is. So the indoor is in the attic. Outdoor unit is in the back corner back there.
Okay.
And then we have the breaker panel in the basement. So.
All right. Let's go take a look.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike. This is my supervisor, Arlo.
All
Mike,
right.
good to meet you.
Hey, good to meet
How
you.
you doing today?
Good.
Good. Here's my card.
Okay.
Sam told me that you have a leak in the coil. So is it okay if I go around with Sam and verify what he has and
Yeah.
take a look at the rest of the system for you?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to join?
Yeah, that would be great too.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
just so I can kind of see what's going on. I think
All
that would
right.
be awesome.
Do you want to start at the indoor unit?
We're going to start at the outdoor unit and then come
Okay.
back inside. That way we can hit two birds with one stone, come
Okay.
to the basement.
Okay, perfect.
So, let's
Cool.
walk outside.
Let's go.
Yeah, that sounds great. Cool. Thank you.
Before this entire experience, I thought that replacing an HVAC system just meant replacing an air conditioner. What I didn't realize is that comfort inside of your home is the result of dozens of systems all working together. Airflow, insulation, humidity, the crawl space, your ductwork, your electrical capacity, even where your thermostat is located can affect how efficiently your system runs. As we walked through the house, I started realizing that this wasn't just about fixing one broken piece of equipment. It was about understanding how my entire home functioned as a whole. At this point, I sat down with Arlo and he helped me understand the easy and flexible financing options that James River Air offers for their customers. He explained that I needed an entirely new HVAC system, from the outdoor condenser to the indoor handler, along with modern controls and additional upgrades throughout the home to improve comfort, humidity, and efficiency. As homeowners, it's easy to think about individual problems instead of the bigger picture. We replace what's broken, patch what's leaking, and we move on. But sometimes taking a step back and understanding that investing in proper maintenance, repair, or replacement actually saves you a significant amount of money.
So today is the day. You can see the James River Air trucks and crew right behind me. They are inside of my house, in my attic, in the basement, and on the other side of the house, replacing the entire HVAC unit. Last year, inside of my house, it was over 100 degrees throughout all of summer. You never know what you're signing up for by becoming a homeowner, but knowing that you have the right people, the right team, the right equipment, and that your home is a place where you can enjoy it and be happy inside of your environment is really, really important. And I wouldn't be able to do it without these folks here.
Watching this installation gave me a whole new appreciation for the amount of craftsmanship, training, and experience that goes into doing the job right. After spending time with the team, I learned that James River Air has been serving Central Virginia since 1967, and they've built a culture around investing in their people. They even operate their own HVAC trade school and apprenticeship program, training many of their technicians in-house before they ever step into a customer's home.
All right, so this is the old unit. This thing is a turd. It's even got like I don't even know, it looked like a bird was making a bird nest in it because it's been trashed for quite some time. And I've got Jackson here behind me working hard, putting in the new unit. So as you can tell, it's much smaller, much more efficient, much newer. This thing here, I believe, was manufactured in 1999, so it's well past its lifetime, and it just continued to burn out, not work. It's trash, it's ready to go. Very excited to be having a new unit in here because not only does it save a lot of money,
but it looks better, it runs better. Huge burden off of my shoulders. By the end of the day, it was hard to believe the amount of work that was done. The old system that had struggled to keep up for years was gone, replaced with an entirely modern setup built to handle Virginia's hot, humid summers. Along with the new condenser and air handler, they installed a smart thermostat, a commercial-grade dehumidifier for my basement, and a few other upgrades to help improve the overall comfort, safety, and efficiency of the home. But what surprised me the most was not how cold the house got. It was just simply the peace of mind that I felt. For the first time in a long time, I was no longer wondering if I'd be getting another $700 power bill, or if I was going to be even able to sleep at night in the hot indoor temperatures. That burden was finally gone, and the very next morning, I had the chance to sit down with Hugh Joyce, president of James River Air, to thank him.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks so much for coming by.
My pleasure. It's always nice to, get out and do a little walkthrough on a job after we get done, and kind of walk the homeowner through running the machine, make sure everything looks good, and just get a nice walkthrough, shakedown, make sure everything went well, and it meets with my approval and your approval.
Yeah. I've never been cold in this house before during the summer. So after the unit was installed and kind of let it come down to temperature and stuff, I was like, wow. Because honestly, I was a bit skeptical at first. Like, I thought, even though it's a brand new unit, I was like, well, there's no way this solves the whole problem, right? I think, like, in my mind, the problem was so big that I just felt like it couldn't just be that. There has to be something else, To wake up the next day and it was actually nice and cool in this house, I mean, it's just like actually life-changing. All last summer, over 100 degrees in this house. It was crazy hot. And I just thought to myself, there's no way that I can go another summer like that.
You didn't have to suffer like that. We could have got that straight last.
Well, I didn't know.
But now you appreciate it more. I'm going to turn it down a little more than you keep it. I keep it a little cooler than you. That's always a big discussion. What temperature should I keep my machine on? You should keep it on a temperature that makes you feel comfortable, what you like. But not below about 69 degrees. We don't really like to see you below 70 degrees. These have been the greatest machines for us. Super quiet, super efficient. You just been pretty bulletproof. Now that you have this machine, is making sure we do a good job of maintaining it, changing the filter every month or two, doing a good maintenance, because with good maintenance, keeping things clean, we can see machines last 50% longer, which that just cut the price of your new machine in half, your next machine in half. If we can get longer life cycle, then that's money in your pocket.
I mentioned it before. I mean, it is life-changing in a way, and I know it can sound overly dramatic, but for me, last year was rough, and I was questioning to myself, like, what am I doing? Like, how am I gonna figure this out, And now we know that the solution was fairly simple. Obviously, it was a hard job, but it means a lot that you came by just to make sure that everything went well.
But I love to do a little walkthrough from time to time. It's great to get face to face with the customer and see the job, talk about the job, and certainly try to stress to everybody it's not that hard to get this kind of thing done. And we love helping with these kind of projects. We've looked at the thermostat, looked at the outdoor unit, filters in the hallway there. The job looks good. I'm going to give it my seal of approval, so I'll let the guys know they get an A.
My scenario is not unique, I'm sure. People are just trying to figure out how to maintain their homes. What is the common advice that you see yourself giving, even if it's to your own children or just young homeowners in general? Are there things that come to mind or that are top of mind that you often find yourself sharing with them?
When you have these real estate investments, which it is an investment, and for a lot of people it's their biggest investment, the secret is pay attention to it and maintain it. And what I always say, when you get your electric bill every month, just take that bill and look at it and say, okay, looks like it's supposed to be, and use that as your reminder to check your air filter, check your attic, check your crawl, walk around the house, look outside, make sure no gutters are leaking. Just be attentive to this great investment on a monthly basis, and typically you won't get into too much trouble. If you do that monthly little shakedown check, or at least quarterly, and pay attention to it, you'll be so much farther ahead than most people are. I love being over here in this old neighborhood in, I think you and I talked about this, but my old office used to be right around the corner.
Yeah, I ride by there on my bike all the time. I walk past that when I'm going over to Carytown and stuff. So your dad started this company in the 60s?
Yeah, my dad started in the 60s, and I came into the business in the late 70s when I was in high school and was working in the shop and a helper running stuff around. Then I went to University of Richmond.
Yeah.
And so, I've been over here for about 47 years.
Yeah.
Doing it and love it. My boys are in the business now. It's a family, third generation business. And we have a lot of third generation employees, associates too.
Wow.
Who, who are working there, and their kids and grandkids are there. So it's kind of neat to have.
That's a huge accomplishment, because most businesses, generational businesses, don't make it to the third generation. So, I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yes. And our business is growing. We're in Richmond, Charlottesville, Roanoke. So we do think that no matter what happens, with AI and technology and development and automation, the trades and what we do are going to be important for a long time.
Yeah.
So
well,
it's been cool.
In a world where I feel like people are giving lower quality service, lower quality products, like they're not paying attention to what they're, selling or offering or doing. Their top priority is not necessarily contributing value to the people that they serve. This was an amazing experience. It was the total opposite of what I think most people are doing. It just means a lot that you were willing to help me, willing to come out, willing to stop by personally and see how it went. I know this was a unique, interesting, weird project. I know my attic is very hot and very small, so huge thank you to your whole team for being able to tough it out and make it happen. I know they do it every day, but it means a lot, and I can't tell you how grateful I am for you guys being a part of this.
No, this was a great one, and we appreciate the chance to put it in and be a part and get it on tape and let people kind of see the process for themselves. And I think once you see something, it becomes so much easier, and there's less fear factor, and you say, okay, that's how it went. This is what happens. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, and we look forward to having you on the podcast, and seeing you a lot more in the future. So thank you so much.
I can't wait to get on the podcast.
Oh, it's going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to it.
Looking back on this entire experience, I think the biggest lesson is actually a pretty simple one. Do not wait. If something in your home doesn't feel right, whether it's your system not keeping up, your energy bills keep climbing, or you just have a feeling that something isn't working the way that it should, get it looked at sooner rather than later. Putting it off rarely makes the problem better, and as I learned firsthand, it usually ends up costing you more in the long run. So one thing I really appreciated throughout this entire process was that James River Air never pressured me into making a decision. They took the time to educate me, answer my questions, and help me understand exactly what was actually happening before I ever had to decide what to do next. So if you're a homeowner anywhere in Central Virginia and you've been wondering whether your system is ready for another summer or winter, I'd encourage you to schedule a free second opinion. It costs you nothing, you'll learn a lot about your home, and you'll have the information you need to make the right decision for you and your family. You can visit jamesriverair.com or call 804-358-9333 to schedule your free second opinion.